By the time evidence appears, the act has long been sealed in heaven. The world is only now discovering what imagination finished ages ago. Yet man, prisoner of delay, still bows before the ticking god of time, counting days, reading omens, asking the future to grant permission for what eternity already decreed. He calls this bondage wisdom, this worship of the aftermath, to sift through ashes and name them beginnings. He kneels before the echo and calls it the voice. He salutes the reflection and forgets the light. And then in his blindness, he wonders why heaven seems so silent. Reason feeds upon reports. It gathers proofs as a mourner gathers relics, tokens of a faith long dead. It weighs the whispers of the unseen, as though the eternal must present credentials before it may act. It names this paralysis prudence, but prudence is only fair wearing the mask of dignity. And when faith dares to move, reason comes running, breathless, ledger in hand, crying, "Hold, we must verify this thing." But creation does not wait for accountants. It does not submit its miracle for inspection. It moves by command, not consultation, by the royal word, not by record. For the evidence is ever late. It rushes in, out of breath, shouting, "I knew it all along." It trails behind creation like a shadow, chasing the sun, announcing what was long accomplished in silence. It is not the cause, but the echo, not the act, but the after-image of power. You gaze upon the fruit and cry, "A miracle!" But the miracle was finished before the seed was sown. In that secret hour, when the heart rose and declared, "It is done." From that unseen decree, the world took its cue, slowly arranging itself to resemble the command it had already heard from within. Man mistakes the imitation for the cause. He bows before the echo and names it the source. He studies the ripples, forgetting the hand that cast the stone. He kneels before the aftershock, calling it power. And in his blindness, he calls that blindness realism. He cries for witnesses, never dreaming that he alone stood in the moment of creation. He trusts the photograph above the presence, the record above revelation, and flatters himself calling this sleep maturity. The evidence will come, yes, but only as a messenger arriving after the correlation, to bear witness to what you dared to believe without sight. It cannot lead. It only retraces your steps, carrying the proof of what was already done. Faith moves before the curtain even stirs. It speaks, and the stage rearranges itself in haste, while the world, bewildered and late, scribbles its histories of causes it never made. By the time the proof appears, the Creator has already gone on to other worlds, leaving the chroniclers to argue over the remnants, never knowing they are studying the signature of faith. So tonight I tell you, wait not for the applause of appearances. Do not let the clock instruct you in creation. Time is the slow reflection of a word already spoken. The unseen acts at once. The visible stumbles after, dragging its feet through the corridors of delay. What you dare to accept as real now will harden into fact, while the guardians of doubt keep their ledgers balanced. And when they finally believe, you will have moved on, dwelling in a higher decree, while they gather around your former state and name it luck. For evidence, my friend, is the slowest of messengers. It always arrives too late. By the time it speaks, faith has already written the law. And the world, obedient as ever, can only repeat, "So it is."